Before I start speaking, could I ask Commissioner Hudak's daughter to step out of the room? Because I will be addressing Commissioner Hudak. No? That's actually a smart move, because I'll have to temper my language. Anyway, this is, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Commissioner Board, Bruce Paterson, Garwood, New Jersey. I have a couple of items. One is that property out on 735 Springfield Avenue in Berkeley Heights. Whatever is happening to that, I was saying you guys are overpaying about $1 million. Now I see another reso, 349 for about $60,000. It's turning into a fiasco. Somehow the deed didn't process or so. So I don't know if anybody wants to explain what the heck's going on here. You know, I don't even know if you guys even are aware of it. Another one is the county complex that the judge has put on hold. From what I understand, you're still spending money on it, even though the project is on hold. And I'd like to find out who's accountable for continuing to spend our taxpayer money, even though the project is on hold. And you may not even be aware of that. I don't know. You know, so you guys like photo ops, but you know the details somehow you don't really pay attention to. A couple of meetings ago, I mentioned MV Strategies on the CARES Act money distribution, and I mentioned that it was earmarked freeholders, which you, of course, said that was scurrilous accusations.
Yes.
Well, it's been 2 weeks. I don't know, has anybody looked into it and tell me what this is about? Because I'll tell you, through Oprah, the public has looked, trying to find out some work product that came out of MV Strategies or deliverables or documents or something like that, and they find nothing. So at this point, all we have to go on, the public, is that it was earmarked freeholders. And I go back to, you know, whatever the accusation is, but something's really strange here, and maybe the U.S. Attorney should get involved in checking this all out, especially MV Strategies. Well, whatever, that money just disappeared. And that was $750,000. Somehow, through an Oprah, we find out there's another $750,000 to MV Strategies that nobody really knows about. But I'll tell you, in digging further, this Elena Estrin or something that somehow was involved in picking up these checks, she ended up buying a $700,000 house down in Washington at the same time. Is it a coincidence? Maybe it is. But I'll tell you, these CARES Act monies were just frivolously spent with no work product to show. None of you guys, and I mentioned this 2 weeks ago or 2 meetings ago, and have you all looked at it? No, nobody's looked at it. So I'll tell you, we got major problems here. There's also a civic organization group that's getting $2.4 million. That's another question that's going to have to be looked into. And maybe you guys should help look into it to find out what's going on. Now, as to Commissioner Hudak, and I am tempering my language, I see that Commissioner Hudak is going to be running for surrogate office on the Democrat ticket. More than likely, being that this county just seems to vote no matter who's up there for election, will just vote. So I would assume, you know, I can give my congratulations right now to County Commissioner Hudak that he's going to be the surrogate. However, what we have here is somebody who has no experience whatsoever, no experience for the surrogate end of it. Surrogates are for adoptions, guardianships of minors and property, estates, wills and probates, and maybe he had, during his legal education, maybe he had probate 101 and wills 101, but he is not experienced for that position. I have no idea. I know you guys didn't select him. It's more of the Democrat bosses of the various towns that agree with Scutari, I guess, that picked him. But anyway, but we got problems. You're going to be funding the surrogate's office. There's grieving people coming to the surrogate's office, and it really should be somebody with experience that can handle these grieving families when they come there for the probate and for the other items. So, I mean, we got major issues, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Hudak, I mean, you know, that you really should step down and maybe somebody internal in the surrogate's office to step up to run for that position, because it's a constitutional position. And I'll tell you, you guys, somehow you guys don't even know what's going on. I mean,
Mr. Paterson,
I bring up
your
issues,
time
you
is
do
up.
nothing about them.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
comments. Okay. So there was a question about 735 Springfield Avenue. I would ask our open space administrator, Vicki Drake, to respond to that.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. Resolution 2022-349 is for the county to continue to conduct NJDEP compliant preliminary assessment work on a property that is a potential acquisition. And with regard to the question about the deed, I do not have any knowledge of what what's discussed. We have everything in order.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. The other question had to do with MV Strategies, and for some folks who may not have been here several weeks ago, Mr. Paterson accused the county commissioners, those of us sitting here, of each pocketing some part of $750,000 because he did not read the resolution. MV Strategies was hired by the county as part of our COVID-19 vaccination program. They did canvassing, phone calling, and all kinds of things. This is federal funding, and every single penny has to be accounted for, and every single penny that's given to our municipalities and that we at the county use has been used for that purpose. I know that our county manager wanted to also make a comment about the CARES Act funding and where it went.
Thank you, Chair. The speaker said the CARES spending was frivolous. The county has spent money to feed thousands of people, millions of pounds of food. There was grants for small businesses to keep them afloat, grants for nonprofits to keep them afloat. Excuse me. The CARES money was spent to vaccinate and test hundreds of thousands of people during the height of the pandemic. It paid for their salaries, the vaccines, the testing. The county was able to help a lot of people during the height of the pandemic, and if your definition of that is frivolous, I feel sorry for you.
Okay. I think Commissioner Granados?
Thank you, Chair. Just to address some situations that were discussed before by the previous speaker, MV Strategies was hired by the County of Union, correct me if I'm wrong, County Manager, and then they were so successful in working with the County of Union, and they're then hired by the state of New Jersey to help run their COVID operations. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
So I think that we're doing something good in creating this whole mobile unit and making sure they're going door to door during the height of COVID and creating this partnership. When it comes to your allegations, and this is sometimes a problem that we have, is you put something out into the universe that's completely false, like making allegations that this commissioner board were accepting funds from this organization, when that's completely false. This commissioner board continues to put the interests of the residents first. There's no person on this dais who's accepted any type of funds from anyone, because basically what you're suggesting would be something illegal. And that's a problem. You make assumptions like that, you make statements like that, and then you have news reporters, you have different news agencies picking up the information you put out there and making it seem like there is that type of thing going on in the County of Union. So what I ask of you is to continue making sure that what you say, you think about twice before you say it. And thinking about 100%, think about it twice when you say it. And then also on top of that too, is before you put something out there that's completely false and completely ridiculous, okay, to realize that if you would like somebody to talk about you negatively, not only negatively, we have no problem with that, but making false allegations about yourself. That's a true issue. People have contacted this commissioner board, and through the county manager, through the public information office, they provided that information on what MV Strategies have provided to the residents of the County of Union. Yes, they have. Once again, I'm not providing you false information, I'm providing facts, okay? That's a major issue. So if you're gonna come here and speak, make sure you're providing actual factual information. Because what you provide, then you have individuals pick that up and make it seem like it's factual information when it has nothing whatsoever to be factual. It's completely false. And when you're talking about Chris Hudak, there's no actually point in talking about it, because we all know, okay, that people vote in knowing what they're voting for. Before you made a statement of they just vote for voting and they're going to vote down the line. No, it isn't. Our residents here in the County of Union know who they're voting for. Look into the individual who's running for election and making sure they're the best candidate for that job and for that position. Okay? So when Chris Hudak's on the ballot, okay, running for surrogate, I truly do believe Chris Hudak is the best individual who's served in the public sector, who's been a commissioner, then freeholder, for over 9-10 years. Somebody who's not only a lawyer, but somebody who continues to give back to the community and putting the needs of residents first. So I'd be truly happy and look forward to Chris Hudak serving as a county surrogate.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair.
I agree.
Sir,
Can I just say something real quick?
let me go to Commissioner Mirabella and then Commissioner Leon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I completely agree with Commissioner Granados. And, you know, I've been a student of Mr. Paterson's work over many, many years, and to expect him to think before he speaks is highly unrealistic. And it's been, you know, my experience that he does like to stir up this kind of controversy by giving these falsehoods and misinterpretations and without really understanding at all what he's talking about. So I'm not surprised, although I'm equally frustrated, right? The other thing I'll say is, you know, as far as Commissioner Hudak is concerned, I mean, he's more than qualified to be our surrogate. He's proven that in my mind, and this is somebody who sat next to him or across from him for years and years. I see his care for the public, his training as a lawyer, and I, for one, can't wait to vote for him in November. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Commissioner Leon.
Thank you. I'm very saddened to hear the way he spoke because of personal dislike about Commissioner Hudak. I have been here for 2 years, and he has been doing this continuously, and I'm just flabbergasted to see how he got up there. He was actually screaming. He got very loud, and it's very sad that because of personal dislike, you would attack somebody in public the way you did.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Palmieri Mudet.
Thank you. I think we're all justified here in taking some time to speak. Just in terms of the CARES funding and the money that was spent on COVID relief, I don't think we can say it enough how proud we are, not of ourselves, not of anything that we did, of what our county has done as a whole, what our employees did day in and day out to literally save people's lives. We spoke about it a few times in recent meetings because we hope that we're, at an end to this pandemic. And we heard from people that their lives were saved because of the quick work, the smart work, and the diligent work that we did as a county here. We saved people's lives. So to criticize anything that was done is hurtful, not to me, but to the people that worked day in and day out to do that during a pandemic. And just in terms of Commissioner Hudak, on a personal level, from the day I was elected in this new role for myself, I have sought his advice on how to serve the public, because that is how well respected he is by his colleagues and by the residents of Union County. So I know how critical the role of a surrogate is for a county. I know that it is one of the most difficult jobs because you're dealing with people in horrible times, the worst times of their lives. They are going to have to go and see, let's hope, this man. And I know for myself, there would be nobody else that I would want to speak to than Mr. Hudak. So I, for one, am happy that his name is on the ballot because I know that he not only has the care and compassion, but the expertise as well to lead that department. So that's all I'd like to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vice Hudak. Vice Chair Commissioner Hudak.
Thank you, Chair. In regard to the comments about MV strategies, not so much the comments made just now, but the ones last month. I would caution the speaker in making allegations with such specificity, which are untrue, because you are responsible for that comment. You want to come up in here and say the county's corrupt, you have your right to say that. You have a First Amendment right. It's not true, but you have a First Amendment right. But if you want to come and make a specific allegation, you had better be prepared to substantiate it. Now, in regard to the remainder of your comments, I don't have to justify myself to you. I don't have to defend myself to you. I think I have a very strong record on 12 years of this on this board and 20 years in various capacities serving in the private and public sector. You asked my daughter, who's here tonight for Take Your Child to Work Day, to leave. How dare you? This is, excuse me, I listened to you. You can listen to me. It's my turn now. When you said that, I said no, because no one's going to tell my daughter to leave the room because she can't hear what someone's going to say. You're wrong. But I said something to her then, and I'm going to say what I said to her. This is a free country. We have rights. You have the right to come to that microphone, to speak on this agenda, to say what is in your mind and in your heart, as do I. And it is my job, as it has been for 12 years, to be on this dais and to hear those comments and to listen, sometimes to learn, maybe not respond, or respond. That's my choice. We live in a free country. And that's why she's here, because that's what Dad does. So you want to say what you want to say about me, that's fine. But my friend, do not tell my daughter to leave the room. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome, Vice Chair. I just wanted to add just a couple of things. And, I think that my colleagues have said, that, when people make slanderous remarks and they can't back them up, that harms us, it harms our family, it presents a false perception to the public that we are doing something wrong. And as Commissioner Palmieri Muedad eloquently stated, we had hundreds of county workers and volunteers and folks coming to all of our food drives to assist, to provide food and comfort to people who were, and some of whom still are, deeply in crisis. We were the first county in the state to open a COVID testing site, and that took an enormous amount of organization. Hold on, I got these statistics here. We've given 136,000 over that vaccines, 16 million meals, 17 million pounds of food. And we've assisted folks in other ways with other kinds of crisis intervention. So to say that we each took approximately $83,000 and put it in our pocket, that's just ridiculous. And it's slanderous and offensive, and I guess, if anyone else were accused of that, you'd be looking at a lawsuit. The information is available, and as County Manager said, MV Strategies is also working, doing the same type of work for the state of New Jersey. So you certainly have the right to go to the governor's office and to go to the legislature and accuse them as well. The only thing I'm going to say about Vice Chair Hudak is I think he's uniquely and supremely qualified to fill this role. It is an election, so I think that your comments about how people vote are kind of demeaning to every voter here in the County of Union, as if you have the brain and no one else has a brain, and they just brainlessly, mindlessly vote. I think that's really offensive. Folks vote for whom they want to vote for. And, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but neither are you. So with that, I will ask for any other speakers who want to come to the mic who have something to say.